want to show you this box of ornaments. They are miniature ornaments, and I actually bought these last year when they were on clearance at Home Goods. But they always have these, okay? Maybe not this exact box, but they always have these little mini ornaments, and I love them. This is kind of an antique, like pearlescent kind of ornament. And yeah, okay, Catherine, I can't even plug in, but I did check my battery and I'm at 62% because there is no plug-in near me right now because of all the chaos here. So they have this little box. I think it was like regular $25 and I got it for, I think, 50% off. So in the box, adorable, yes. So it has all these ornaments. So it has these antique-y looking pearl. It has these mercury glass, different types and sizes. And I love this one, this little pearly heart. Or maybe it's butt cheeks. I don't know. Look at it. It looks like a little butt, a little heart-shaped butt. So cute. And yeah, and it has these little clear ornaments. So I was looking at this today. I pulled down a couple of my Christmas boxes from up top, and I was looking at it, and I thought, we are going to make a wreath, and we're going to utilize some of these. Thank you, Cheryl. So we're going to decorate with that. And I also brought some bubbles. So we have bubbles, and I brought a bunch of different kinds of seed beads and some little acrylic. These came from either Michael's or Hobby Lobby. They're just like acrylic diamonds, or actually they're like rock shapes, because I think we used these when we did our whiskey splash. So it looks like ice. So we'll just see what we're gonna use. We'll decide as we go, but the first thing we're gonna do is paint our canvas. Make the heart into snowman butt cheeks. I love that idea. That would be hilarious. Yeah, we're gonna save that one. We're gonna do something obnoxious with it. little snowman butt cheeks. I love it. Look, this could be his. Let me get that. So, I can't get them out. So we could take the little black parts off, and it could have like, there's his little butt. I can't wait to figure that out. That's going to be super fun. All right. So for our canvas, I am going to put a little paint on here, but I think I'm going to use a metallic, and I think I'm going to use two colors. One is pearl white. This is folk art. Metallic pearl white and metallic champagne, just to kind of mix it up. I got them at Home Goods last year, but you can usually find these little miniature ornaments at Home Goods or TJ Maxx, or what are those other stores? Is it Home Goods, TJ Maxx? Those kinds of stores, those little crazy stores. Tuesday morning, if you have a Tuesday morning. I can almost always find those mini ornaments at those places. Thank you, Cynthia. So look for those, and they're usually fairly reasonable. Like I said, this regular price was $24.99, and this is a lot of ornaments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's a lot. I didn't do the math in my head. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use both of these colors just to kind of blend and have a little movement in our background. So normally when I do a metallic, I wanna lay it out straight. I wanna like put the metallic on and then pull all in the same direction so it's not blotchy, but we're gonna make it blotchy on purpose this time, all right? We're gonna totally, that's so crooked and it's making me crazy. Hang on, let's fix that. Oh, that's the anal retentive part of me coming out. Oh, now it's crooked again. Okay, so I'm literally just gonna squirt some of this pearl white onto my canvas. And then I'm going to squirt out some of the champagne color, and we're just going to swish it on. We're going to just swish. So let's just make, let's do, oh, what if I used a palette knife? We might try a palette knife instead of, yay, Becky, instead of a brush, just to see how it looks. And if we don't like it, we'll brush it out. So let's do that. Is that not lovely? Thank you, Catherine. I am so tired. That was not mathing, so thank you for the math. I was like, why am I trying to do math live? Yeah, let's don't do that. Okay, I'm going to use a palette knife, and I'm just going to flatten this. Now, I'm not going to scrape across, all right? I'm literally going to just slightly, I'm barely touching. Look how pretty that is. Barely touching the canvas. I'm just spreading, and we'll add more where we need. So I'm just kind of smoothing it out. Don't scrape, or you're just going to be scraping your paint off. So I have the left side of my palette knife barely lifted up off the surface. And we're just pushing the paint around. This is actually pretty gorgeous, just like this. Look at that. Let's fill in the holes. That is stinking gorgeous, y'all. Now I'm like, oh, I don't want to cover that up with all that glass. No, right? So let's add a little bit more. Fill in some holes. Look how pretty that is. That's going to be gorgeous with the resin on top. Let's fill in a little. Oh, let's do a little bit of that. I know, that was terrible sounding. Terrible. Yeah, it's kind of marbly, isn't it? Marblicious. So I'm just barely touching. Keep one edge of your blade kind of raised so it doesn't suction down to your canvas. And let's just fill in. This is going to take 6 days to dry. You're going to have to come over here and talk to him while I stand over on the other side of the room and dry this canvas. I don't know what I was thinking. This is literally going to take forever. This is thick. I don't know. I think they took one in the back because that socket wasn't working for this scale. Oh, is that an extension? Will it reach to here? Julie Joyce has found us an extension cord. Yeah, they were in that chair, weren't they? Yeah. All right. So we've got about most of this covered. I got a few little holes. I'm just going to kind of spread around. And this is just stinking so pretty. And y'all, it doesn't even look the same on the video. I'm looking up at the camera and it looks so much prettier in person. So just really lightly blend and spread over your entire canvas. And then we're gonna spend the next half hour, oh, there's some sort of bug. We're gonna spend the next half hour trying to get this thing dry. It's gonna take a minute because that's a lot of paint. So naturally, I think if you're doing this at home, let this dry naturally because it's probably going to blister up a little, forcing this paint to dry, especially the metallic. So if you're going to do this bit at home, let it dry on its own. Don't force it dry because I'm probably going to be on the struggle bus with that. The struggle bus. The struggle bus. So look at that. Oh, I just put my whole finger in it. Hang on. Lord have mercy. Y'all, I am so tired. This has been a week with all that stuff with Biscuit. Steve gone. I told him, boy, you better get home. You better get home.
Never leave again.
I know. I'm not allowed to go anywhere without me again. All right, I want to show you guys this up close if I can. Look. Look at that. I don't know if you can see the metallic quality of that, but it's very marbly. Oh, that is so pretty. Oh, what did I do? What is that little thing? What is that? I don't even know what that is. It made like a little funny, I don't know what that was. Did something drip? All right, I'm gonna try to draw this. So if anybody has any questions, it is Folk Arts Champagne Metallic and Pearl White. So we're just gonna try to get this dry without too much heat. I've got it on about medium. And we're gonna try to get it dry. I do miss him. Circle of Death? What are you talking about, Reagan? Steve is suffering on the trail. He is cold, and his knees hurt, and his feet hurt, and he's not living his best life right now. He's on the struggle bus, but he is determined to make it through. He was trying to get a month in. So that'll be the 20th, which is next week. And he'll be happy to be home, I think. I am leaving in the morning, headed to Sevierville. I know, poor baby. I said, well, come home. He's like, no, I can't. I gotta finish. This is like still as wet as it was when I first started. I am gonna use more than 4x12s, yes. So ask any questions you have about things that are going on in the Shattered Circle, guys. Let's keep that in the Shattered Circle so we don't confuse the other people or give away our secrets, right? But yeah, we're not gonna just be using, I'm gonna turn this heat down a little. We're not gonna just be using the 4x12s. We're gonna be using some other stuff too, because I wanna do a variety of things. Thanks for the sprinkles. Shelly said maybe this will cure him of future trail hikes. Probably not, Shelly. Thank you, Jane. He's in Pennsylvania. I can't remember. Catherine told me what it was. I can't remember where he was. I can't remember. Something. Bald. Something. I can't remember. He's in Pennsylvania. That's all I know. Oh, how our glass supplies? We should have plenty of glass supplies. If it's showing we're out of something, let me know, because we have been so busy. And two of my girls were sick, and one of them was out sick again today. So Boiling Springs, thank you, Joanne, thank you, Catherine. The bug has been going around. I'm gonna turn this off just for a minute. It's driving me crazy. And I'm going to let it sit for a second. But we've had some sick girls in the warehouse. So we've been, we're out of red glass. And one of the reasons we're out of red is because it's raining, and it's been raining here. And we cannot tint that glass in the building. It is very stinky. So until it stops raining, we're going to be out of red glass. We do have some started, but it's not finished. So, yeah, everybody here has been sick, except me. So I'm like walking around in a bubble of Lysol to try to keep from being sick. Oh, he is actually in a hostel tonight, Trudy. So I don't know. Grew up in Mechanicsburg. I don't know anything about Pennsylvania. I'm going to hit this again for a few more minutes. It's dry in the middle, but along the edges, it's still wet, and we cannot do wet, so. Oh, thank you for checking, Becky. Thank you for checking. I think that Steve is going, thank you, Angela. I don't think it will, Bonnie. I think he just wasn't as prepared this time as he was last time, and that bit him in the tail. But I think he's going to be heading back up to Harper's Ferry in the next few days so that he can catch the train to DC to get home on Wednesday. I knew this was going to take forever to dry the minute I started doing it. It is so pretty though. It's very marbling. Thank you. And I apologize for the dry time, but you cannot put the glass on this wet. It's so pretty. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Oh, Trudy. He is probably miserable. I think he was in a tent last night too. Let me see. I'm just gonna try to just hit these wet spots. I don't want to have too much heat. Yeah, I don't like cold. It's like 60 here and I'm freezing to death. It is metallic pearl and metallic champagne. All right, I got one really wet spot here and here. We'll focus on those and then we'll get started. Isn't it pretty? Yes, metallic champagne and metallic pearl. $64. Oh no, I know my house stays like at 68 degrees. So I need to warm that up a little. I couldn't be in a tent if it was 50 degrees. Yes, folk art. I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl sleeping in a tent, even if it's summertime. That's not me. That is not my life. All right, let me hit this one spot, and then we're going to try to move forward. Isn't it pretty? I put this paint on so thick without really thinking that this was going to take 6 years to dry. No, it's like, it's really thick right there. Ooh, see? I got to be careful. It started to bubble. Didn't have that. All right, I think we're gonna go with it. We're gonna let that cool off a minute because it's probably warm. I don't have the heat or air on here. It's probably, what is it, maybe 60s, high 50s, 60 degrees here.
Yeah. It was 66 in the car on the way.
Yeah. So it is not miserable. The temperature's not bad. I'm letting this cool off. I'm holding it underneath so I can feel how warm it is. It's the fact that it is just raining and dreary. It is just literally been raining cats and dogs today. Look how pretty that is, y'all. It's getting cool. I can feel it almost sweating underneath too. It's sweaty. Okay, I'm going to sit this here for a minute and talk to you about the glass that I am going to be using in my wreath. All right, so I brought a mix of glass because the tree I did my mother years and years and years ago, I think like in 2010, what I did with a variety of glass. So I wanted to kind of emulate that tree. So I brought to the dance a little Solex reflective, okay? So we have Solex reflective, and we have regular Solex, and I brought a little bit of clear, and I also brought some green reflective, and I'm not sure, let me put this way. I'm not 100% sure, thank you, Brenda. I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna use the green. I'm just gonna start putting some on, and we'll decide as we go exactly, ooh, what was on my hand? That's wet. Exactly, I'm gonna play it by ear. So I think I'm gonna start with the Solex Reflective. 77, don't be bragging, Anna. Don't be bragging. Anna said it's 77. She is. Yeah, oh good. Difference between reflective and plain. Reflective is mirrored. I almost said reflective is reflective. And, okay, so that was just rude. So reflective is this, it's Solex regular is clear. It's like translucent. The reflective on one side is mirrored. So it's got that little mirrored effect. I'm trying to flash it so you can see. See how it flashes? So it's got a little bit of mirror on one side, and the regular Solex does not have the mirror. Yes, thank you, Catherine. Apparently my words aren't working. Okay, so here's what I like to do when I am doing a wreath. I like to put something in the center, and I can't find my cup I had a cup. I had a cup. And it wasn't this one. It was a short, fat one. Let's do this. Oh, let's use this. Okay, I'm gonna use this little vase. That's probably a, let me see. This is a 3.5-inch vase. And I'm gonna put that right in the center of my canvas. And I'm gonna work around. All right, so put a cup or something in the center, and that's going to help you go, it's going to help you have that wreath effect. So I'm going to take my Solex Reflective. Let me see if I can turn this down just a wee so that you can see it from the top down. Let me catch up to myself. Let's see, get the whole thing. I'm waiting on catch up. There we go. I want to make sure you can see the whole thing. There we go. All right, so I'm going to take my Solex Reflective, and I'm just going to go around my jar. And that was about, I don't know, 1/2 pound of Solex Reflective. I'm just going to scatter it around. All right, now I'm gonna just take another color. I'm gonna go with regular Solex. And we're just add, oops, that was excessive. We're just gonna add, this was a whole pound, so I may do the whole thing. You can see. Y'all know I like a lot of glass. I like a little fat one, a little fat wreath. So I'm just going to go around, and we can micromanage it later. And probably should have put a little cardboard in the back of this, but I didn't, so we're just going to live with it. All right, so I'm going to like make a little circle and just open that up a little. Now I'm going to add some clear. Clear is the kind that has a little teeny bit of a blue tint to it. So we're just going to add some of that on top. Like adding cheese to the top of the casserole. Never had a cheese I didn't love. Oh, we don't need this. Look. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing, little buddy? Look at that little stick. A little free stick. All right, I need to stand up so I can see how we're doing. All right, I want to take this off for a minute just so I can see, and I don't want a perfect circle. So once I take that off, I'm gonna like mess it up a little. What's that? mess it up just a little so it's kind of messy. And I think I am gonna add a little bit of the green reflective. We'll add a little bit, and if we don't like it, we'll just leave it. I'm gonna put it in my hand. And let's smatter just, oh yeah. We'll just add a few little nugs here and there. A few little nuggies. Not too much. And then that's too big. That looked ridiculous. Look how big this one is too. I can bust it though. All right, let's add a little more green. It's not frozen on my end. A little more green here and there. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit more of regular Solex on top. And we'll see what we think. Let's go something there. All right, so far it is Solex Reflective, Solex Clear, a tiny bit of green reflective, and I'm gonna come back with just a little bit more of Solex. All right, thank you, Angela. So I'm gonna put that in my hand so I can kind of micromanage it. And because I like a beefy wreath. I don't want it to be flat. I want it to really have some good dimension. So we're gonna make it fat. We're gonna fatten it up. Fatten it up a little. Okay, let me grab these little bits. Get a little bit more. And I think we're about there. Now we're gonna take our ornaments and just kind of bury them in this glass. And then we have other things too that we're gonna add after we resin. All right, so you see how I've kind of made it irregular in the middle. I like to tap it and give it a little bit of a natural look. I don't want it to look like a donut. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be perfectly round. I want it to have a little organic effect, so it's not perfect. All right, I also have these. These are like mother of pearl, almost like, what do you call that? Something. But these are the prettiest beads. And if you put these on now and resin over the top, they just become clear. So once we're done, we're gonna add these on top of the resin so that so we don't lose that frosty effect. So there we go, all the greens. All the greens. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take some of my ornaments. I gotta kind of figure out what I wanna do. And here, the reason I used the champagne and the pearl is because these are the ornaments I want to use, all right? So, and I don't wanna be excessive. I just want it to have maybe 3. So maybe, I don't wanna use my snowman, but but I think I'll do 2 of these and then 1 of these, and we'll see what we think, okay? And I'm digging the possibility of having just them in a grouping. Very simple, simplistic. That, I gotta wait for it to pop up on the screen so I can see what it looks like. Thank you, Angela. I'm engaged. Thank you. Trying to decide if I want to do more or if I want to do, like, instead of the mercury glass, do I want to do 3 of these pearly ones for consistency? I really want to keep it super simple. I don't know what the deal is with me. Everything I've been doing lately is like, I want to keep it to a minimum. Super simple. Oh, trying to look. Kim said, do more. All right, let's kind of put in maybe, I am going to be adding, look, y'all, I am going to be adding some of these. So let's start with that and see what we think. All right, these are like those acrylic gems. And we'll just add a few here and there. Just something simple and unassuming. And kind of digging the simplicity of it. And let's tuck, I want a diamond. Diamonds are a girl's best friends. See, some of them are like ice cube shaped and some are these little diamonds. I'm gonna throw one right into there. Want another diamond? Another diamond. Maybe right there. I don't want them to line up. All right, I'm kind of liking that. Let me look at it. I know it's hard to see, but we're also, yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm not trying for it to stand out and be like really, the ornaments to be dominant. I really want it to be super simple, but I also have a couple of these clear. I don't want to do it. No, I'm not doing it. Not. Don't panic because we do have lots of other stuff we are going to use, such as these bugle beads that are iridescent. Check those out. We're going to put those on after we resin, so it's really going to pop. I also have these teeny tiny little crystal iridescent beads. And I have these matte crystal. They're very similar to these beads. They're just smaller. And I have white seed beads. And I have bubbles. I'm not doing any red on this at all. This is supposed to be monochromatic. We'll do a really fun classic wreath another time. But for now, I'm going to tell you this. The last time I had a Christmas tree up, it had all mercury glass bulbs because I'm not really much of a traditional Christmas color kind of gal. I like simple. So we're going to go with that. Here's what we're going to do now. Okay, I know you can't see the crystals, but tomorrow when it's dry, well, it won't be tomorrow because I'm leaving in the morning. But once it's dry, and I show you on a video, I'll do my little typical video where I kind of move it around and show you how it looks. It's gonna look better than you think. Trust a girl. Trust the girl. You're gonna love it, all right? So for now, I'm gonna mix up some resin because this is gonna take a hot bit of resin. So I think I'm gonna mix up. I may have to mix more. Yeah, it's just very understated. I think I'm gonna mix 6 ounces maybe. Have you done a wreath lately? I haven't done one in probably 3 years. It is a lot of glass. Maybe I should do 8 ounces. Let me get I need a bigger boat. Let me get a bigger cup. And we'll do 8 ounces. Here's the cup I was looking for the wreath. Stuck it in here like a big dummy. Oh, I could use some of these too. All right, 1 second, guys. I'm looking for a bigger cup because I need to mix a decent amount of resin. So I think I'm going to do 8 ounces, and this is an 8-ounce cup, so it would not leave me any mixing space. So we're going to set that aside. Let's set you aside. And I found these while I was looking for my cup. I love these. They're clear, but they have They have a little oomph to them, so we might throw in 1 or 2 poo-poo here or there, just for a little added dimension. And like that. And I know you can't see it because it's all clear, but trust me, it's gonna be beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna mix up some resin, and then after we put the resin on this, we are going to add other little fun elements. Helen, I'm driving. Yes, those were last night's baby Jesus heads. They sure were. All right, let me wipe this out because I don't know how dirty it is. So thank you, Catherine. I'm gonna mix up 8 ounces of resin. This is probably the most resin I've used on a live in forever, because it's usually like a 1/4 ounce of this, a 1/4 ounce of that. So let me get my gloves on, and I should use a 6-ounce resin pack is what I should do. But I got some resin right here. I think this is like an 8-ounce kit. Oh, that's 4 and 4, but they're not full. All right, hang on, y'all. Hang loose, Hannah. Trying to get my ducks in a row. Everything's just in a disarray around here. So I'm chasing stuff all over the place every day here. Hopefully, when I get back, we'll be able to get it all back together because they're supposed to paint tomorrow, and that's the last thing. Yes, trust a girl. I got you. Very simplistic, very elegant. All right, I'm gonna push this forward so we can mix up some resin. And I'm using this cup. This is, you can get these at, yes, they don't like rose at all. I am using this 1 quart mix and measure. You can get these at Home Depot and Lowe's, but I buy them in bulk. When I'm doing a lot of big art, I buy these in bulk from a company called The Paint Store, and they have a website, thepaintstore.com. All right, so I am going to mix up 4 ounces of hardener and 4 ounces of resin. I wish I had, let me grab a stir stick. Y'all, nothing is where it should be. It's very annoying. Very annoying. All right, so let me pour 4 ounces. We're going to start with hardener. And I'm going to, what in God's name? Something in my face. I'm going to pour 4 ounces of hardener. So it's going to take me a minute. And that's not even 2 ounces. I got all the bottles. I have 0 idea where my regular bottle. Oh, never mind. I do have an idea where they are. Actually, what I have 0 idea about is where my brain is. All right, so that is only about 2 ounces. So let me grab another hardener. I got all these busted bottles. Hardener, hardener, hardener. All right. Let's go slow. I already over poured once today. Okay, almost there. Almost. Oh, there we go. 4 ounces of hardener. Art resin, hardener. All right. And now we're going to put 4 ounces of resin. Yes, it's plastic, so yes, it is definitely. All right, so we're going to mix 4 ounces of resin. Emptying out these half bottles. That'll be good. Making trash. I know. Yeah. All right. Not quite enough, so we're going to go to another. Resin. Make sure I'm doing right. And we're going to get to our 8 ounces now. Come on. That's a lot of resin. This is not your typical Wednesday night project. All right, let me stop and let that grow and see how we're doing.
It might get good and dry by the time you get on Saturday.
Right? Exactly. Okay, we're good. So I'm going to mix. I'm going to stir up. And if anybody has any questions while I'm stirring, I'm happy to answer. And I'm just going to get to stirring. I hate that that beautiful background we created is 90% covered up. It hurts my heart. So I'm going to stir my resin, scrape the sides, all that good, typical stuff, all the stuff that we do every week. Stir, scrape the sides, scrape the bottom. Everybody's still sick. Everybody's still sick. Could you explain how important scraping the sides while mixing is? Tips to avoid sticky spots. Yes. Here's the thing. Scraping, when you put one part in and then you put, and it's all like on the bottom, and then you put another part in and it's all sitting on top, and then you start to blend. If you don't scrape your sides, then you're not fully mixing the two parts together, because you're going to have unmixed resin on the sides of your cup. And if you get down, as you're adding your resin to your project, if you start scraping that resin off the sides and it's unmixed, that is what's going to create those sticky spots and have spots that don't cure. Okay? So it is super, super important to measure properly and to mix and scrape the sides. I did measure all into 1 cup, Leslie, because I'm pretty experienced with this, but I always encourage new people to mix in 2 cups. So what you would do is put the 4 ounces of hardener in 1 cup and the 4 ounces of resin in another cup. That way you're ensured that it's an equal part, equal measurement, and then you can pour them into 1 cup and mix it. Mixing is super important, as is measuring, because that's the 2 things. One of 2 things happens when you have an art piece that won't dry. You either mixed, like you had more resin than hardener, or you either didn't stir it and blend all the 2 parts together properly. All right? Did that help? What else did you use with the green glass? It's green. It is actually Solex reflective, clear, and green reflective. If you add lights, yes, we would resin. If we added lights, we would resin over the lights. Yes.
Wait for my later test.
Thank you, Catherine. I'm going to give it another few seconds because I was running my pie hole, and I just want to make sure that it's nice and blended. All right. Yeah, scrape your stick in case you got a little unmixed resin on your stick, for sure, especially these big fat sticks. All right. Let's see. A lot of glass, won't the canvas sag? Yes, but you can always, what am I trying? I can't, where are my words?
Brace it under.
Yeah, you can always brace it, like put a piece of cardboard underneath to keep it from sagging in the middle. I didn't do that. I should have, but most of my glass is around the outside edge. If it was piled up right in the center, it would definitely like sink down a little, but this canvas was super tight and I went all the way around the outside edge, so I'm not terribly concerned about it sagging. How do you keep eaves? Anna, the resin, I'm gonna start drizzling. The resin is self-leveling, so that's it, you know, it does it by itself. So it will self-level and even itself out. Now, if you have a saggy canvas, it will occasionally, like all the resin will go to the middle of the canvas because your canvas is sagging in the middle. So a way to avoid that is, if you know you have a saggy canvas, is to wet it, mist it with some water on the inside and let it naturally dry so that it helps tighten up the canvas. Or you can brace it, like we talked about, you could brace it underneath to avoid that issue as well. Just tuck a little cardboard or something sturdy. Have you ever tried a resin mixer? I've not. No. I actually bought one. I think I gifted it to somebody way long time ago. I bought one, and it only like mixes the tiniest amount. And I like mixing by hand. I think somebody else just said that too. I like mixing by hand because I feel like I know it's mixed. You know what I'm saying? Not a trusting soul, maybe. I know it's mixed. And we don't, you know, I used to mix huge batches. Like when I was selling my stuff a lot and doing a lot of shows, I would mix up 16, 32 ounces at a time and resin like multiple pieces. And I don't do that really much anymore. So doing it by hand is not a big deal. But I can see where if you have arthritis, and I do have arthritis, so that's why I can see how if you have arthritis, because sometimes that 3 minutes feels like an eternity, and I could see how you would want to try that if you had arthritis. So you got to do what you got to do. All right. I wanted to make sure I got all those little balls, the ornaments. I want to make sure I got them really covered. Can you mix too long? Yeah, if you mix for 30 minutes, that's too long. Other than that, if you mix for 5 minutes instead of 3, it's fine. It's not going to do anything. You're just minimizing the open time, really. But I have, when I mix larger batches of resin, I will mix longer just to make sure. Because when you're pouring 16, 24 ounces of resin, the last thing you want to do is have to resin it again because you didn't mix long enough or you had a pocket of unmixed. And that is very disturbing. I'm going to turn. And we're going to keep drizzling. I'm just going around the circle, making sure it's all covered. Oh. Thank you for the stars, Diane. You don't want it to be so thick, Barbara, that it creates an indent. You want it to just tuck up in and be thin enough that it doesn't raise your canvas. It just secures it. It just makes it sturdy. Here's something I have known other artists to do as well, is you can, after you've done your painting, if you're using a ton of glass, well, number one, you could use wood or a hard substrate instead of a canvas. But something else you can do after your painting is done, if you know you're going to use a lot of glass, you could do a very thin coat of resin on your canvas, just a super thin coat, and let it cure and then do your glass on top, because the thin coat of resin is going to harden your canvas and give you a really sturdy substrate. I've not ever done that, because I am a tightwad and that feels like a lot of resin to waste. That feels like a lot of resin. So I just secure it if I'm worried about it, or make sure my canvas is super tight.
Canvas I'm working on tonight, that 11 by 14, I just took a smaller canvas and it's the same thickness and tucked it up underneath the back of it.
Yeah.
So that it's holding up the center of the tree.
Right. Now, somebody just asked why I'm drizzling instead of pouring it on, right? The drizzling, when you have this much glass and it's as thick as it is, if I just poured this on, I'm going to miss a lot of spots. The drizzling ensures that all of my glass is covered, and because it's hitting those top layers of glass and it's flowing down the sides of every little kernel, every little cube, and then adhering it to the canvas. If I were to just pour it on top, you're gonna miss a lot, all right? So pouring is not the best way. And I have way too much resin. I have way too much. I'll tell you exactly how much I used when I'm done, but we have plenty. I probably could have done, what I mix, 8 ounces. I'll tell you how much I used. Probably am gonna have 2 ounces left. I should have used that burst pack. That's all right though. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't wanna have to mix twice. We'll see how it is. Okay. Almost there. We've almost met our circle. Drizzle, drizzle. Get it all covered. You don't want to come back. That's something that is heartbreaking too, is to come back the next day thinking you have a finished piece of art and a big chunk falls out. So that's why we drizzle too. And that's why we are very structured in how we drizzle. So I'll start in one spot and I move around. You know, if I'm doing something like a Christmas tree, I would start at the top and move downward. Very meticulous with my resin application. Because I have done a very large piece before and come back the next day and pick it up and chunks of glass fall out because I missed a bunch of spots. And when you have to resin again, it's not fun. All right, we have met our end. So I'm gonna take a little bit and drizzle right into the middle, and I'm gonna put a little on my corners, and then I'm gonna see how much we used. We may drizzle, we have lots of resin left. Let's see, I wanna see how much we have left. I still have 3 ounces. So it took 5. I wish you'd have brought something to resin, Julie. It took 5 ounces of resin to do this wreath, right? I know. It's like, ugh. So now I'm just gonna take my finger. You could use your stick if you want to. I like using my hands. And I'm gonna pull that resin all the way to my edges. And I'm gonna just go around. Let me do the middle too. We're gonna add some more giblets after this. And we do the little pieces second. We do the little pieces after resin so that they don't like go everywhere. Because if I had added a bunch of seed beads to my glass, they're gonna bounce and move all over the place and be hard to control. And so I like to do those teeny tiny bits. Are you?
I am, but you're
No, oh, yep, tuck that up. I like to do my little tiny bits after I resin. So it's thank you. Julie's over here taking care of me, making sure my hair, I've had to have resin haircuts before, so I sure have. Okay, I need to add a little bit of resin to that corner. Hang on. Let me spread. So I'm just moving it to the edge. I think I can spread all the way over. No, I need a little drizzle right there. Is Becky here? Becky, are you okay, honey? You look like somebody whooped your tail. All right, I'm gonna go around my edge with my finger just to make sure that edge is done. Then I'm gonna get a paper towel and wipe my finger off to get some of the resin off my hands, off my finger. And then I'm gonna pick it up and kind of look at it to make sure I didn't miss any spots. So I'm just gonna kind of look around. Look, look, look. I don't see any missed spots. Maybe right there, a little pinhole. And I'm just really depressed about that resin, but it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. So now I'm going to hit it with my heat gun and pop any bubbles that we might have in our resin. Wait for it to warm up because I had it on cool. Keep that heat moving. You don't want to like hone in on one spot. You want to keep it moving so it doesn't burn. And I see a Skippy. I'm going to have to get that. Right, that's good enough. Good enough. And I see a little Skippy right here. Look at that little bit. All right, so now we're gonna add all our other little giblets. Giblets. I don't know why I'm obsessed with the word giblet right now. Okay, let's see. We're gonna start with some bubbles, all right? So acrylic bubbles, we sell these in our store. So how do you get it out? Just take your finger and swoop it out. You can just do that. Like, just swoop and then drizzle it somewhere else. All right? That's how you would get it out. That happens a lot when you're doing a wreath because the nature of it, it's just gonna pull right there in the center. But don't stress about it. Just scoop it out with your finger and it should be fine. So these are bubbles, acrylic bubbles. We sell these in our store. So I'm literally just going to let them go where they go and just add a little pizzazz to our wreath. All right, I like them in the middle, I like them on the ends. I'm gonna add just a few more on the corners. Voila, all right? So that was acrylic bubbles. Love me some bubbles. Every art piece needs a little bubble now and again, doesn't it? All right, so the next thing I think I'm gonna do is I love these bugle beads. Bugle, bugle, bugle beads. So we're gonna open this up and I'm gonna pour some in a little baby cup. Giblet, that's funny, Kim. So we're gonna pour some of these in a little cup. I'm gonna put the top back on in case I spill, because I'm a spiller. I'm a spiller. And I'm gonna sprinkle some of these on. These are iridescent, so they're really gonna make this wreath shine. So I'm just gonna tap in some bugles. Oh my goodness, y'all. I can't wait to show y'all this dry because y'all are gonna flip. It is so gorgeous. I'm just gonna empty them all out. That was about, let's put some in the middle. All right, so now I'm going to add some of these crystal AB. They're iridescent. These all came from Hobby Lobby. We'll do a few of those. I'm gonna keep these all in a place together so that I know what to put in the supply list. So we're gonna add some of these little baby beads. I'll add some to the middle, some around the edge. It's like frost on the pumpkin. All right, now I can add some of these little baby frosty looking ones, but I think here's here is what I'm gonna do first. Before I add the frosty ones, I'm gonna do a little bit of drizzle on top of some of these beads. I don't want to get those beads off of my ornament. Not all of them, but some. I'm going to drizzle a little bit on top of my beads just for a little insurance and because I have the resin, right? I mean, I have a ton of resin left. So I'm going to drizzle right on top of all that confetti that we've applied. And what you doing, Jules? Ringing out rags. All right, so I did that because I wanted to, we had leftover resin and I wanted to secure that. But I didn't want to drizzle over these because these have that frosted look. And if you drizzle over these, it's gonna make them clear. So I wanted to try my very best to keep these kind of frosted. So let's try that. Do a little bit of these. Let me put this in my stash so I know I used them. So I'm gonna just tap in some of these frosted beads, and some of them may get enough resin on them that they do turn clear, but that's just unavoidable. But we're gonna try really hard to have some of the frosty effect. Oh, this is ridiculously gorgeous. I'll put a few in the middle. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna pick this up and see if I can get close enough that you can see. I'm gonna wait, let me see. Look at this already. This is scrumptious. This is heavy too. Look at that. Oh, not a single one, Helen. All right, so last but not least, I think I'm going to add a few of these larger beads. I want to make sure I don't have resin on my hands because I don't want I'm going to have to use my hands to apply these, and I don't want them to lose their frost. Let me show you what these look like. Look, these are kind of frosted, iridescent beads. So we're going to add, oh, I dropped one right in there. We're going to add just a few here and there to really make it pop. Whoop. Get yourself in there. One there, put one there, put one there. Let's drop one right in the middle. One there. Let's get a few more. Very understated, very neutral. This, a wreath like this would go in anybody's home, right? It would be neutral enough that no matter what your home decor is or what your Christmas colors are, that it would blend really nicely in with that decor. One more. Thank you. I love it. I love doing these wreaths. I don't know why I haven't done one in a long time. All right, so you put that over here. You put that there. Look at all that resin. Oh my God, that hurts my heart. That hurts my heart. We'll put this over here. Let me get my ducks in a row, y'all, before I'm gonna pick this up and show it to you up close. And we used a palette knife, so I gotta put that there. Okay, so I wanna show you guys this. I'm gonna lean this camera up. I would probably charge for this 130 bucks-ish, something like that. It's a lot of glass and it's a lot of resin, okay? I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna try to get super close and I'll move it down. There is 2 ounces of resin left, over 2 ounces, probably 2 1/4, not quite 3, but yeah, 2 ounces of resin left. So 6 ounces, I think, would be sufficient. When I turn the camera up, I do want to show you how much glass I have on here. All right, girl, I wish I could, Kim, but if you saw the studio, you would know that everything is discombobulated. I wouldn't even be able to get my hand on an ornament or even another canvas easily. So it's just going to go to waste, which hurts my heart, but it is what it is. Look at that. Look at that.